Hi guys, welcome to this course where we're going to teach you everything you need to know to start advertising with Microsoft Advertising. So how does Microsoft Advertising work? Basically, customers enter a search term into an engine such as Bing, your ad appears and customers contact you. It's that simple. So although it's not the biggest search engine, Microsoft Advertising actually does account for over 20% of the overall searches being carried out across the UK. So it's definitely somewhere that you want to get your ads in order to capture every single potential customer that may be interested in your business. This course is designed to give you everything that you need to know, so whether you have no experience in Microsoft Advertising or if you've already been using it previously, I'm sure we'll be able to give you some more advanced tips to help you get the most out of your campaigns. We're going to start from the very beginning, so how Microsoft Advertising works, give you a bit of background information, then we'll go into how we use the platform, give you a bit of a tour guide into the interface. We'll then start looking at how to create your campaigns, look at the targeting options that you have within Microsoft Advertising, some of the difference between the search engines such as Microsoft Advertising and Google Ads. Then we'll start working on some of the more advanced techniques that you'll need to use in order to successfully manage your campaign and get the very most out of your ads. I'm really excited for you to get involved with this course and start learning. I'm going to give you so much information, it's going to be a lot to take in, but it's going to be guided all the way and you can do it at your own pace. So I am ready if you are. Let's dive into the course. Hi guys, so before we dive in a little bit further into some of the technical aspects, I just want to give you a quick overview about exactly how search ads work. So search engines such as Bing, for example, basically just provide a place for customers to start their journey. A user will typically type in what's known as a search query into the search engine. This then results in ads being shown which the engine matches based on relevance. There are many different types of searches that a user might type into the search engine, so it's important that you are there for each stage of that journey. Examples of search queries might be informational based search queries when someone's in the research phase, or it could be a transactional based search query, so somebody looking to buy. You're probably thinking right now the main thing that you want to focus on is that last type of search query, the transactional search query, which of course is what you want to achieve. You want that goal, but it's really important to understand that we have to get there through capturing the user at each stage of their journey. Because it is such a competitive environment as a search engine, you need to make sure that you aren't just there at the very last stage. So Microsoft Advertising, or Bing Ads, displays both paid ads and organic search ads. So we're going to be looking at how we optimize and show for paid ads. Let's dive into the rest of the course. Hey guys, so let's first understand how Microsoft Advertising auction and ad delivery works. The first step is the consumer is going to type in a search query into the search engine, either for information or products, for example. The search ads are then delivered based on a number of different factors. These include things like your keyword match type, your bid, or even your estimated click-through rate. The consumer then clicks your ad and Microsoft Advertising receives the CPC that it costs for that click. The consumer is then sent to the advertiser or your specific landing page that you have defined in your final URL. Once that process has happened, it's over to you guys to make sure your website is optimized to ensure that that consumer converts into one of your customers. Hi guys, so I just want to touch on some common search terms that you'll hear throughout this course and that are really useful to help you understand how your campaigns are performing. So first of all, we've got search query. So basically all this is exactly what the user has typed into the search engine. So for example, I might go on to Microsoft Advertising, I might go on to Bing, and I might type in, how do I learn PPC? That is my search query. Following that, you've got your keyword. So the keyword is what you are actively advertising on. It's not the same as the search query. However, a keyword and a search query can exactly match. You've got impressions. So this is basically how many times your ad has been shown when a user has typed in a search query, but it doesn't mean that that user actually clicked onto your ad. When a user has actually actively clicked your ad, that is known as a click. And this is one of the important metrics that you'll be keeping an eye on to understand how much traffic is being delivered to your website from your Microsoft advertising. Click-through rate is also really important and something that we'll be focusing on quite heavily in relation to things like your ads and the relevance of the account. Click-through rate is calculated based on how many clicks your ad receives in comparison to how many impressions it got. So if you had 100 impressions on your ad and you received 10 clicks, that would be a 10% click-through rate. Bid is on Microsoft advertising the maximum amount that you will pay for a click on your ad. Average CPC, very important. It's to do with the cost that you are actually paying when somebody or a user clicks on your ad. We have conversions. So conversion is something that people get a little bit confused about because they'll typically think about a conversion as being a sale, for example, but actually a conversion can be anything that you define as a conversion. So it could be a form fill on your website, it could be a phone call to your business, it might even be a download of a PDF. It could be anything that you deem being a conversion for your business. And of course, a sale is a typical conversion point. Finally, we have conversion rate. So this basically is a metric that helps you understand how well people are converting compared to how often they're coming through from your ads. So a similar kind of formula to what we had from click-through rate, except we're looking at this time the conversions to click ratio. So if you have 100 clicks on your ad and you have 10 conversions off the back of that, then you have then got a 10% conversion rate. So we're going to be looking at how we optimize all of these metrics in order to get you the best performance from your Microsoft advertising campaigns. Hi guys, welcome to the first section of the course where we're going to cover off keywords and match types. So by the end of this course, you'll be able to understand and define exactly what a keyword is and how to use them. You'll be able to understand the different types of keywords that are available to you, and you'll also be able to understand the match types that are available and how and when to use them. So let's dive into the next part of the course. Hi guys, so let's just quickly define what keywords are. So keywords are basically the words or phrases that you determine are relevant for your business and you want to actively bid on within your Microsoft advertising account. Keywords are the foundation to building a successful campaign and online marketing strategy. They are what determine exactly what search queries trigger your ads. An example keyword might be, if you are an advertiser who sells flowers, for example, you may bid on a keyword for somebody when they search for, I want to buy flowers. It's that simple. However, there is a lot of research that needs to be done to ensure that you capture all the relevant keywords for your business. Customers have many different ways of searching, and they'll also type in very different search queries depending on the stage that they are at in their user journey. In order to make sure that you have a successful campaign, you want to make sure that you're capturing each user at every stage of the journey, and that means doing a lot of keyword research to understand what your customers are typing in and when. So, how do we select our keywords? One of the best ways to select your keywords is initially to have a little bit of a brainstorm. Yeah. So you want to go away and have a think about what exactly you think it is that your customers will be searching for in relation to your business. So the next part is going to be about selecting your keywords, and this is really important. Now, Microsoft Advertising does actually have an import tool available to you if you've already done keyword research previously through Google. If you haven't done any keyword research previously, then we're going to take a look into how you actually go about that. So if you haven't already got a keyword list available, some of the things that you might start with is brainstorming. So brainstorming allows you to have a real good think about what exactly you think your customers might be searching for when they think about your business. Following on from that, you really need to be thinking about relevancy. So let's think about exactly what users might be searching for and how that's relevant to what you offer. There's no point adding in keywords that people can't relate to in regards to your business. Finally, you might want to consider keywords based on the purchase funnel. So there'll be a different set of keywords based on where a user is. So at the beginning, it might be more around the research phase, like the hows, the whys, the whats type of questions. Then you're going to have people who are more in the conversion-based stage where they are ready to buy. So they might actually use terms like buy in their search query. So there's going to be different types of keyword groups that you need to think about before you finalise your keyword list. So the way we categorise keywords can differ based on how you want to approach it, but some of the things that you probably want to think about are areas such as long tail keywords. So these are going to be the keywords that are not going to get you as much search volume, so you're not going to get as many impressions or clicks from these keywords. However, they will more likely be people who are ready to kind of make the next step. They're a considered search. Then you might have things like geographic specific keywords. So these are when users are typing in a location-based search term. So for example, I might search for a car dealer in Yorkshire because this is where I'm based and that is where I would want to look for a car. So this is when, you're going to target a user based on where they are based and if it's relevant and close to your business. You then have what's known as your branded keywords. So this is any keyword that includes your business brand name. So it may be the case that if you're a new business, you might not be well known and there might not be a lot of searches around your brand, but hopefully with time and what you're doing with your advertising now, you will be able to establish that brand presence. So branded keywords are really important to have within your account to make sure that you're showing when somebody does actively search for your business. Brand keywords are really great. They're going to be very cheap for you in terms of your CPCs. They're probably going to result in quite high click-through rates because if somebody's actively looking for your brand, it's expected that they will click through on your ad. Finally, you've got your non-branded keywords, or what you might be known as generic keywords. So these are non-specific keywords in regards to a brand. So it's going to be the ones that give you probably the highest volume in terms of search and visibility. So you're going to get a lot of impressions if you're willing to pay for these type of keywords. But you're going to have to work a lot harder in terms of the relevance and saying the right things in your ads, etc., in order to get that user to come through on your ads. So generic keywords, for example, might be things like car or dress or red dress. It's very top level. It's just a generic term. It doesn't have any relevance or any direction in terms of what the user wants just yet. There's no brand related to it. There's no geographic positioning related to it. And it's not a long tail keyword, so it's not considered search. So your generic keywords are going to be kind of your biggest list of keywords and the ones that drive the most traffic or the most impressions, at least, for your campaign. So how can Microsoft Advertising help you to choose the keywords that you should advertise on? So Microsoft Advertising has a tool which is known as the Keyword Planner. You can basically pop in some keyword ideas into this tool or a landing page, for example, and it will spit out basically a lot of different options for you in terms of keywords that you could be potentially bidding on. It will also give you things like the estimated average monthly searches for that specific keyword so that you can understand how much volume you're going to potentially get from adding these keywords into your account. We'll dive into exactly how to use the Keyword Planner tool in one of the tutorials. Hi guys, welcome back to the course. In this section, we're going to be focusing on Microsoft Advertising match types. So there's 4 areas that I want to cover off specifically today. And we're going to touch on each of them briefly so that you get a full understanding of how match types work. So the first match type we're going to discuss is exact match. So exact match keywords are a great keyword selection to use when you want to sell a specific product to a very specific target audience. You're going to get a lower amount of overall impressions from an exact match keyword than you would from something like a broad match keyword. But it is likely that using an exact match keyword will result in showing ads to people who are looking for what you are offering. So you'll probably see better things like lower CPCs, potentially better click-through rates, etc. on an exact match keyword, because the relevance is going to be higher to the search query than what you would get from other match types that are available. So when we think of exact match keywords, all it is if you have a keyword that is buy red dresses, and then a user searches on the search engine buy red dresses, there'll be a match, and that is an exact match keyword. The exact match keyword has matched to the exact search query. So it's really good to have in your account. They're going to give you a lot of relevance in your account, and it's going to allow you to target the customers that you want and show for the correct search queries with your ad. However, what has been introduced over the years is what's known as close match variants. So although you have exact match keywords, you also have what's known as the close match variant, and this includes things like minor variations to the search query compared to the keyword. So the keyword might not exactly match the search query, but it's close enough that the Microsoft advertising engine deems it highly relevant and it will show your ad anyway. So things that you might want to think about when you think of close variations are the likes of misspellings, abbreviations, your plurals. Reordered words are also included in the close variant, and also search queries with a similar or same intent as your keyword. So the close variant really does open up your keywords to additional searches, which are going to be relevant to what you want as well. Then we have what's known as phrase match. This gives you a little bit more flexibility in terms of how many users you are reaching across the search engine. So phrase match basically works when your keyword matches a search term that a user typed in the search engine, but it can also include words at the beginning or the end of the keyword. So it has that option to kind of broaden out the reach a little bit and give you that capacity to reach additional customers that might also be relevant to your business. However, including match types such as phrase does open you up to some potential irrelevant searches. So it's important that you keep an eye on your search query report, which we'll talk about in a different session, to make sure that you're adding in any irrelevant terms as negatives to your account. Finally, we've got broad match, and broad match is a great way to expand out your campaign's reach. So broad match basically triggers whenever a search query contains any of your keywords in any order or are related to you, to what you put in as a keyword, concepts and synonyms, and things like your misspelled keywords, etc., that you would get within a close variant, for example. Broad match is always going to be the default matching type. So if this isn't for you, you need to make sure that you choose the correct match type when setting up your campaign. So if you're using multiple different match types within your account, the search engine will choose the one that has the highest relevance to it. So for example, if you're bidding on the word red dresses, the keyword red dresses, and you have it on both exact and on broad, the search engine will match to the exact variation first. The order of the matching based on how the search engine works from the keyword to the search query goes from exact, phrase to broad. So to summarise, since the exact match keywords have the most relevance to the potential user's search query, this is likely to result in better metrics in things like your click-through rate and your conversion rate, but it might mean that you get less volume, so less impressions overall and potentially less clicks across the exact match keyword category. Phrase match allows you to maintain some of your relevance, but it does open you up to a much wider pool of search queries from the user. So phrase match does allow for you to achieve more volume from your impressions and your clicks, and potentially more conversions overall, because you are targeting more users overall, more user search queries overall, and the relevance is still there. But do remember to make sure that you keep an eye on exactly what search queries are triggering your keywords from a phrase perspective. Finally, your broad match keywords do have the highest potential for overall volume of traffic. It's really important to include broad match if you want to kind of expand your reach and reach a much wider audience. You do need to bear in mind though that broad match is probably going to result in things like a lower click-through rate and potentially lower conversion rates, because you're driving a much higher volume of overall impressions and traffic to your website, which means that the overall kind of volume coming through isn't always going to be relevant, and you're going to get a lot of potential wasted traffic there. Thanks for watching, guys, and keep learning. Hi guys, so let's talk about account structure. In order for you to get the very most out of your account, you need to understand how Microsoft Advertising is structured. Once you fully understand how it is structured, you'll be able to organise your campaigns and ad groups, etc. in a way that works well for you. With Microsoft Advertising, you can go ahead and build a completely new structure from scratch, or it does have an option to do an import from Google if you are already using the Google Ads interface. Microsoft Advertising has 4 levels to the account structure. We have manager accounts, the account level, campaign, and ad group. You need to have these 4 levels in place in order for your campaigns to run successfully. So let's talk through the Microsoft Advertising hierarchy. First, we have what's known as a manager account. And the manager account is the highest level of the hierarchy. It links the advertiser to Microsoft Advertising. Microsoft Advertising associates this account with a unique number that is linked to things like the advertiser's business name and address. The manager account houses all the accounts within the Microsoft Advertising platform. Then we have account level. And accounts are the second level in the hierarchy of the Microsoft Advertising account structure. They are used to separate out an advertiser at a high level. They contain things like your currency, time zone, payment methods, and your access settings. Accounts are what are going to house an advertiser's campaigns. Usually, an advertiser is only going to need one account. However, there are some situations where you may need multiple accounts. This might be if, for example, you have more than one line of business, or maybe you want to break out your accounts based on an international level. Or maybe you just want to test separating out a new ad type or feature in the account. Next up, we have our campaigns, and campaigns are the third level in the Microsoft Advertising hierarchy. They are going to be used to separate out your information at a more granular level than what the account would. They contain things like your budget, your location targeting, languages, and other targeting settings. Campaigns are going to hold all your things like your keywords and your ads, and these are going to sit in what's called ad groups. And ad groups are the 4th level of the hierarchy for Microsoft Advertising. Your ad groups are going to be what you use to make sure that everything is tightly themed and related. They house your keywords and your ads, and you're going to want to think a little bit more about the settings within an ad group, such as ad distribution, your targeting settings, bid strategies, and ad schedules as well. We're going to spend quite a bit of time focusing on the ad groups and how they're structured in another part of this course. So guys, to summarise, the 4 levels of the Microsoft Advertising account hierarchy is your manager, your accounts, your campaign, and your ad groups. Advertisers or agencies can manage multiple different accounts. There are multiple different ways that you can choose to organise your structure of your accounts. However, one of the best ways to think about is organise them around your business goals. When it comes to organising your campaigns, ad groups, etc., you really want to be thinking about how to make sure that these are tightly related and all themed together so that your keywords relate highly to the ads that you're going to write within the ad groups. Let's dive into the next part of the course. Hi guys, welcome back to the course. So now that you've started to understand how Microsoft Advertising works, we've covered off the structure, we've covered off keywords, and we've covered off match types. Now what's left to understand are your ads. And this is really important before we then dive into how to actually set up your very first campaign. So, there are different types of ads available within the Microsoft Advertising platform. However, the main ad that you're going to focus on within Microsoft Advertising is known as ETA, and this stands for Expanded Text Ads. Now, expanded text ads are made up of different components. You've got your headline titles, and you've got your description, and you have your display URL, and you have a final URL. And these are all parts of the ad that we're going to focus on to make sure we get the very best results from the ads that you create. Note that there's a difference between your display URL and your final URL. The final URL is where you're going to actually direct your traffic to, so the landing page that a potential customer will reach when they click on one of your ads. Whereas the display URL is designed to be written in a way for you to add kind of personalization to the display URL, how you want it to display. So an ad title can have 3 parts to it. The third part title is actually optional, but I would always recommend that you include this when you are building your ATAs anyway. And each headline has a maximum character length of 30 characters. The display URL, or also known as the path, can have up to 15 characters within it. Then finally, the ad text, or what you might know as a description, is where you're going to put the most information about your business into. It has character of up to 90, so make sure you utilize this when you're writing your ads. So let's just talk about a couple of little tips that might help you create some great ads for the future. Tip number 1 is to keep your ads relevant. So this will involve basically including the user search query within your ad at some point. Ideally in the headline or title, but also within the description as well, to make sure the ad's as relevant as possible to what that user is searching for. Next, you want to create multiple different ads. So multiple different ads allows you to test different messaging and understand how different messaging resonates with your potential customers. You can have as many as 100 ads in an ad group across the Microsoft advertising platform, so there's no limitations in terms of the number of ads that you can have there. However, best practice is to include around 3 to 4 ads to make sure that each ad is getting enough visibility to get relevant results. Once you've had the ads running a little while, you can then start to pause and remove ads that aren't working as well, that may have lower click-through rates and things like that, so that you can get the best performing ad for your campaigns. Next up, you want to really sell your business. What sets you apart from your competitors, for example? So in the ad, you want to think about using your unique selling points, your USPs. So what makes you different? Why should a customer buy from you and not from the competitor, for example? What are the unique features or quality about your brand? Tip number 4, be true to what your brand offers. So make sure you kind of pre-qualify the customer before they click through the ad and then result in kind of a different message on the landing page than what they get from the ad. So what I mean by this is, if for example you have a premium product, you're going to want to attract a customer that can afford that product. It's high quality, it might have a higher price point. So there's no point in using things like discount or budget or cheap in your messaging, because that doesn't resonate with your brand. So make sure you keep it true to your business. Finally, you want to make sure that you create a call to action within your ad. So basically you want to inform the customer what step they need to take when they come through to your website. It basically gives a reason for the customer to click your ad right now instead of going somewhere else. Example of call to actions might be about downloading a free brochure, or using a discount code on site today because it's going to expire soon, subscribe to a newsletter, or anything like that. Your call to action is unique to you and your business and what you feel is most relevant for your customer. So as well as things to focus on, there's also a couple of areas that you should avoid when you're creating your text ads. Things like random capitalization, so having words that have, part capital, part lowercase, having fully capitalized words, they need to be avoided. Excessive punctuation is another one. You can't be having loads of exclamation marks, for example, or question marks all over your ads. That won't work for your Microsoft advertising ads. Also, don't think about using like gimmicky type of wording or jargon and things like that. It needs to be spelled correctly and resonate with your customer. So guys, as well as your ATAs, which are your expanded text ads, we have a more recent ad format within the PPC world, which is known as responsive search ads, or RSAs. And these are dominating in terms of people using them on the platform now going forward. So responsive search ads are actually really great. They basically take away some of the manual work that we have to do in regards to what we test with ATAs. So with ATAs, we have to think of 3 headlines and multiple descriptions and what goes together, what works well, etc. Whereas responsive search ads allows you to kind of eliminate that process and give some of the automation over to the Microsoft advertising platform. So how it works is we're going to provide up to 15 headlines and 4 different descriptions. And then the Microsoft advertising platform will mix and match these different headlines and descriptions for us so they get the best performing ad variations. We'll take a look into how to create both expanded text ads and responsive search ads throughout this course. So guys, just one more different ad format that I want to touch on briefly in this introduction video is known as ad customizers. Now, ad customizers are a little bit more advanced, a little bit more technical, but they can be really useful for your business. So when using ad customizers, your ads can actually dynamically update themselves. So what needs to be done is you create what's known as a feed and you upload this into the account. And basically this gives the Microsoft advertising platform the information that we want to include in our ads based on specific circumstances. So we'll have a little bit of a dive into this in more detail in another video. Finally guys, just before we finish off on this section, I just want to touch on understanding if your ad is performing well or not. So determining what actually makes a successful ad will require quite a lot of testing. So it's something that's going to take a little bit of time, and you'll have to run quite a bit of data through your account to get a thorough understanding of what actually works for your customers. The main things that we're going to think about when we understand whether or not an ad is performing well is metrics such as your click-through rate, but also your conversion rate and what's known as an ad index, which includes both of these metrics together. We'll also be able to use the Microsoft Advertising Ad Performance Report, which we'll look at in more detail throughout this course.